It's time for another video about those diamond in the rough situations. When you find a great song on an album that isn't so great. I've got 6 more of these to talk about, so we're gonna get into it shortly. But hey, right before we get started with that, today's video is sponsored by Audible and their Audible original, the DJ Drama Gangsta Grills podcast. In each episode, DJ Drama has a conversation with a different artist that he's worked with in the past to create albums or mixtapes, whether that's T.I., Pharrell, 2 Chainz, or my favorite episodes with Tyler the Creator and Lil Wayne. You get to hear not only about the process behind making their iconic projects with DJ Drama, for example with Tyler the Creator, that would be Call Me If You Get Lost, or for Lil Wayne, the Dedication mixtape series, but also their influences, their journey in music so far, and even a little bit on where they plan on heading next with it. The series has 9 episodes, and if you just listen to one of them, you're probably going to want to fly through the rest of them, which is exactly what I did. You should definitely go and give it a listen, and you can do so by heading to my link. It's at the top of the description, and that's audible.com/grills, or texting grills to 500 500 and signing up for a 30-day free trial of Audible. Much love to Audible for sponsoring today's video. So with that being said, let's get into these W songs on L albums. Yeah.
Hey, you ain't brown like squirrel. Hey, you ain't Chanel pearls. Hey, you ain't Rolls Royce car.
Business is Business has to hold the record for the shortest amount of time taken for a Young Thug album to fall out of my rotation. The whole thing kind of feels like Young Thug poorly impersonating himself, and honestly it kind of doesn't even feel like an official release. It doesn't feel like something that was supposed to come out. But it does have 3 or 4 really solid tracks hidden in there, with Oh You Went possibly being my absolute favorite. That's right, one of the tracks with 2020s era Drake on it is my favorite. Parade on Cleveland was a pretty weak introductory track to the album, but Oh You Went is full of life and a little bit of sparkle in the production with that very clean sample. It's nice when Metro Boomin shows us that yes, he can still make beats that aren't always moody and dark sounding. It's a song that to me sounds like it could almost fit onto So Much Fun with its more upbeat vibe, and believe it or not, I might actually like Drake even more than Young Thug on here with his confident non-stop flow.
Sis guy, he a visionary. I'm the definition like the dictionary, baby. Turn around, forget the missionary. They say that life's about balance, baby, and the balance is in my account now, okay.
I wish Business is Business didn't feel so underwhelming, but hey, I'm gonna replay the hell out of this song at the very least.
Don't make me wait, baby, it's been forever.
Speaking of Drake, let's talk about one of his own songs. It's now just over a year since Honestly Nevermind released, and I can confirm that it is still ass. I still find it funny that when this album came out, some people were saying that people who didn't like the album just didn't understand it and need more time to fully get what it was going for. As if a bland dance album by a rapper is something revolutionary that we need a lot of time to digest. With that being said, there is exactly one song from this album that has grown on me over time, and that, as you now know, is Flights Booked. This one I can actually vibe with. Passes the vibe check. Great sample use, a smooth, wavy beat, and singing from Drake that isn't terrible. The verses aren't perfect, but they're smooth enough. However, what really brings it home for me is that hook that Drake does on here. That shit is just beautiful to me.
When last did we feel this close together, chasing sunsets in California?
Yeah, I just can't get enough of that hook. I feel like this song did the whole Honestly Nevermind sound perfectly. Like the other tracks, there were so many things about them that missed, but this one is actually clean and smooth and nice to listen to, and not an affront to my ears with that falling back on me shit. This one just did everything right, while the majority of Honestly Nevermind did not. Now come a little bit closer, let me paint a picture for you guys. Imagine that you just listened to one of the most boring albums of the year, filled with lifeless energy, that's an oxymoron, and dreary beats, and you went through this enthusiasm-draining experience for 80 minutes. And then out of nowhere you hear this. Hallelujah, man. It's like finding signs of life on a desolate planet. Money and Sex is a bonus track on If Looks Could Kill, but it's one of the only exciting tracks on it. Even then, I don't think it's great, but the beat is fast-paced and energetic and loud at the very least, and I think on this album it's a welcome change of pace on the final song, which is a bonus track once again. Literally nothing else on the album sounds like this. Ken Carson is the only feature on the entire project, so even if he's not amazing on here, it was just nice to hear someone different on this project to break up the complete monotony of it. On the last song, Ken's verses on here are mildly entertaining, and on this album, god damn it, I'll take that. Lonely didn't really step up his energy at all for this track. I think he's just permanently comatose, but the beat on this one is so wild that it helps carry his parts into being decent and listenable.
I missed out on millions and millions, that money is gone. Ain't getting no compensation, ain't no compensation for niggas, we ready to roll.
I thought Gift and a Curse was decent when it dropped, but looking back at it, man, it is dull. The one time in his career where Gunna has something big and impactful to talk about, he doesn't really do it in an interesting way on the majority of the album. The majority of the songs genuinely don't feel all that different to your typical average Gunna song, and that's boring. But one of the highlights for me is right at the start of the album, and that's Back to the Moon. The intro Back at It basically functions as a long build up to Back to the Moon, because Back at It has barely any drums whatsoever on it, so it just constantly feels like this drop that never comes. But then you go from track 1 into track 2, and Back to the Moon just instantly starts with the drums, so it feels like the payoff to Back at It. It's a nice way to start the project, and Gunna matches the beat's increased energy with more passionate vocals and flows. Passionate by Gunna's standards anyway. He kinda goes off on this one. He actually sounds fired up on it, unlike a lot of the other tracks on the album.
I finally discovered the breed. I'm glad I can see I'm the one they discussing. It ain't about the money you got me discussing. You like it, then he gotta love it.
He's flowing like he wants to make a statement. The whole Gift and a Curse album doesn't downright suck, but I would rate it as lower than a 5 out of 10, so I think it makes sense to include a song that I really like from it on here.
If I don't like the engineer, shoot him in his ear. I ain't paying for studio, bitch, I'm out of here.
I don't think I need to recap all of the reasons why Lil Pump 2 sucks. It's just bad. But No Hook is one of the few points on the album where I felt legitimately entertained, and like Lil Pump's sense of humor was just a little bit more present. It's got a Detroit style beat, and I guess that inspired Lil Pump to be just a little bit more ridiculous with his lyricism, and it actually works. I laugh when he's yelling at me, asking if I've ever ordered 20 sandwiches from Popeyes, telling me that he sold my little brother Re-Rock, talking about shooting the audio engineer in the ear if he doesn't like him and then leaving without paying for the studio time, all that fun stuff. And some of the lines actually do this crazy thing where they connect to the next line to form a very short but coherent narrative, rather than everything just being a one-liner. It's pretty cool. It's got me wondering if there are more rap songs out there where the lines actually connect, but I think Lil Pump might have innovated a little bit here. That's Lil Pump in rare form, I tell you. There's one line in his verse about just leaving him to die if he overdoses that feels weirdly dark for the song, but other than that, it's a good old time. Rio the Young OG really killed it on this one too. His voice sounds great on this beat, and he has some of the slickest, humorous lines.
I got a pint of red in my pants, so my pocket's big. Boy, I'm rolling fake as fuck, I heard it talking tick. Yeah, I'm overtaxing, hit a fat bitch in the trap and pop the blow match. I kill a nigga Saturday night and go to church Sunday. In the club Friday acting rich, but you got work Monday.
He's maybe a bit excessive with the lean lines here, like kind of a shocking amount of the lyrics are about the purple stuff, but still entertaining overall. It's a stupid, fun song, and from Lil Pump, That is all I need.
Dropped an album just because of me. Damn, you in love with me. You got money, but I'm hungry. I like it this, but you won't say them lyrics out in front of me.
Now hear me out. I revisited this track just the other day, and even with some weak diss lines, and this beef overall just being kinda goofy, 2018 was an interesting time. This song bumps on its own more than a lot of the MGK music that I've heard. He actually sounded hungry on this track, and I probably appreciate it more now than I do back when it came out. Now let's get it out of the way real quick that Binge is an EP technically and not an album, but I'm still gonna include it here because this shit stinks. Rap Devil is truly the highlight of it, and if you don't take it too seriously, it's honestly a fairly entertaining and kind of solid diss track that again sounds pretty good with that heavy 808 style of production from Ronnie J and Nils. And even if you don't think that diss tracks should have hooks on them or catchy bridges or anything like that, I do think it works to just make the song go a little bit more hard and listenable as a song rather than a diss track. I've been listening to more MGK music lately for an upcoming video that I plan on making on him, and genuinely this one song right here, I'd say is probably better than quite a bit of the stuff that I've already heard from him so far. At the very least, it was an extremely ballsy track to make, and trust me, it absolutely clears anything else on Binge. So there were more rap songs that I liked from albums that weren't all that great to me. If you made this video, what would you have included in it? Let me know down in the comments below, and I'm quite interested to see what you guys have to say. Once again, much love to Audible for sponsoring this video. It's pretty cool to be working with them, and you can click on the screen right here to check out the previous video that I did like this. Thank you for watching, and thank you to my Patreon supporters and channel members over here, with a special shout out to Big Daddy Foe, Griffin Upchurch, I Am Regent, KWG13270, and Lucas1123.